Hello, I'm Cheryl Meyer, and I'm otherwise known as Cheryl M. Health Muse. And what my goal is to inspire you to lead a healthier life. So when I proposed my podcast, I proposed that we present it in two different segments. The first one is It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future-Proof Your Health, where I get to share everything I have learned to return my health back to relative wellness and to live a pain-free life in spite of the fact that I have autoimmune disease. But the second part of my podcast is this episode, and that's Tell Me Your Story, the Health Muse is in. My concept with this is it's all fine and well that you hear me tell my story, but I get a lot of, it's all fine and well that it worked for you, but it's not going to work for me. And I wanted you to hear that there are lots of people out there that have made changes in their lifestyle that have supported their health and brought them back to relative wellness. We all have a couple things in common. We all owned our own health. Whatever the doctor was suggesting we did was going on a parallel path to us making these lifestyle changes where we did things that cleaned up our toxic load. We all pay attention to our body. You'll hear jazz in the background because I want you to listen to the rhythm of your health, and I want you to pay attention to what your body is telling you. My body had been trying to tell me that I was going to topple over into toxic load for some time. I just wasn't listening. So if you clean up your lifestyle and if you listen to your body, you have a very good chance not of being deprived in any way, but returning to feeling darn good. And that's what these podcasts are really all about. So thank you for joining me. This is going to be a Tell Me Your Story, the Health Muse is in episode, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that we all inspire you to lead a healthier, happier life. Thank you. Welcome to another podcast on Tell Me Your Story, the Health Muse is in. And we have a very different guest this morning, not different, but different from the people I've been interviewing, because I have known Tiffany Cano now for a while, and she's an empath. And she really helps people mostly with their spiritual path, but also with their financial blocks and the blocks mindset that keeps them from achieving what they want to achieve in their lives. And so this will be a little bit different angle from talking to people who've been sick, who figured it out and want to share with you how they got well, because Tiffany does a broader practice to help people achieve what they want to achieve and to be all that they can be. So let me read her bio, and then I'll introduce her, and then we'll get started. Tiffany Cano is CEO of Highly Perceptive People Academy. She's been getting paid for healing since she was 8 years old. Many empaths, intuitives, transformational workshop leaders, and coaches actually hire her to help them see and heal their blind spots and be better at holding space and boundaries, because most are so overwhelmed, subconsciously guarded, and they take things personally and then contract with fear and negativity. So she helps them be more clear and to learn to trust their own intuition, to feel safe personally, and to take confident and empowered action and to own your own sense of self. In essence, Tiffany gets you to even be more aligned and congruent so that you can be better at receiving more money, love, and joy. She's the creator of the Soul of the Empath podcast, the Knowing You show, and an embodiment mentor program, Conscious Creation, Love and Empowerment, and the Highly Perceptive People online program. I have been a guest a couple of times on Tiffany's program, and she is a beautiful soul that wants to help people so that they can be all that they can be. So I'm very excited to introduce you to Tiffany Cano. Welcome to my show, Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Cheryl. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So why don't you explain a little bit more about what you do so that everybody out there can have a good idea of what they could actually go to you and have you help them with?
Sure. So I work a lot with empathic, sensitive, intuitive. So empathic people tend to be those that feel stuff, that feel energy. So for those of you who are sensitive to EMFs, like that is a sign of an empath because you can feel that. Um, you might even be able to feel what is happening when you eat some food or water that is of a higher vibration versus a lower vibration. So, empaths are my favorite folks to work with. They're not the only ones, but I'm an empath, so I want to help my peoples. And what I do is I see and heal people's blind spots. So I can see what's happening at that subconscious level. So for every 100 to 200 conscious thoughts that you have, there's 11 million subconscious thoughts.
Is that all?
Yep, that's all. And in those subconscious thoughts, beliefs, programs, imprints, it creates our way of being. It creates our stories, it creates our belief systems. It has us feel sensitive or not sensitive to certain things, like our environment, for example. And when I help people, I go in and I heal what's at that deeper level so that they can feel more loved, seen, heard, safe, understood, and that they belong. And the cool thing is that this ripples out to every area of life. It affects your health, it affects your finances, it affects your relationships, it affects your spiritual connection. So when we can dig in a loving, gentle way, I want to add, and see what's blocking you from health in all of these areas, in love, in peace, and joy, you'll feel better.
The way I define health includes all of those things, which I don't think people always recognize. But if you're not in balance and if you're not open in all of those places, then you're not really seeking and finding true health.
Yes. Yes. So some people come to me for emotional and psychological healing. Some people come for physical healing. Some people come because they want more spiritual healing. And either way, I go in and I do that deeper work. I see what's blocking them, what's physically in their body, what's physically showing up in their aura, and help to release that. And, then they feel better.
Does it take more than one visit usually?
Usually it does. It depends though. I I like to do deep work with people. I'm not a band-aid healer, one off that, oh, okay, here's a quick fix and it lasts for a little while and then they, continue with the same unhealthy habit and then it comes back. I'd rather work with people at that deeper level so that their habits change, their beliefs shift, their sense of self increases. And then it's a long lasting effect.
When did you get started with this? I know you were very young when you discovered or figured out that you were an empath, but what led you to knowing that you could actually do healing?
Ever since I was a small kid, I could see and I could heal. I'd put my hand on an owie and it would feel better. When I was 8, my dad, although he does not remember this, but he saw me doing what looked like massage on one of his barn clients. He's a horse trainer. And he suggested that I charge $1 for 10 minutes. So literally since I was 8, I've been getting paid for doing healing work. Now, I don't do body work. I don't, touch someone when I'm working on them. I do healing distantly, but, that's where I started when I was young.
And your parents understood this.
My mom was supportive. Once my dad figured out what I was doing, he was a little freaked out about it with his Catholic upbringing. But then, later in life, like the last 10 years, he's been open and curious, and now he sees energy. And so it's woken him up. And, things have shifted since then. And I've also trained with many healing masters, saints, holy teachers from around the world. I've literally traveled all over looking for gurus and holy people to hone and refine my skills and give me deeper spiritual training, because at a deeper level within me, I want to have that oneness with God. So I'm searching all these different ways. And when we have things like a body ache or pain, that distracts us from being able to actually get still and quiet enough to feel the divine, to hear the divine, to hear the whispers from our soul. So everyone starts where they start. It might be because they have this physical ailment, but then after all of the clutter and the mind chatter and the physical pain subsides, then what's left is that stillness and greater presence.
I know.
And
I want to tell people I met you because you were doing a summit to support Marianne Williamson for president. And I have read all her books and loved all her material and wanted to participate in that. And I'm sure that she was one of your spiritual teachers, because I got the feeling that you were close with her by wanting to support her with this summit. And it was a wonderful experience to be part of that with you and to support her. And I hope that we come to a point someday where someone like that could be president, who understands from a spiritual perspective what we need as a nation, as a people. But who are some of the other people that you have studied with?
my main teachers are Master Choa Koksui. He's the modern day founder of pranic healing and arhatic yoga, and that's where I learned a lot of the healing skills and clairvoyant skills. And then my guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, was Self Realization Fellowship. That's where I have received the greatest blessings and training for spiritual oneness. And I'm still growing,
We
because
are.
yeah, until we get to enlightenment, it's a journey. There's deeper and deeper levels of peace, deeper and deeper levels of love, and it just takes time and practice and resiliency to keep going.
So if someone was to approach you and let's say they know that they have barriers for money, let's pick that, where would you start with them? Give me an idea what it would be like to work with you.
Well, I would intuit what their blocks are around money. Sometimes it looks, I'll, I'll tune in and I can get visions or sense that when they were young, perhaps a parent said to them, money is evil, or money doesn't grow on trees, or it's hard to make money, or some version of that. And that left an imprint that created their beliefs about money. Because when we're children, when we're young, there's so many things that are impressionable. And those imprints though we may not be conscious of it at all at the time that it happens, it ripples out to the rest of our life. And so when we see these kinds of beliefs, traumas, imprints, then can go in and help to release those and create a healthier, upgraded belief system and way of being. So replacing, it's hard to make money with money flows to me easily, constantly, and in great abundance. And doing whatever we need to do to heal that and transmute that belief into the healthier one.
Okay. Um, you see things clairvoyantly. Do you want to explain what that means?
Sure. Clairvoyance can see energy. So, like empaths feel energy, clairvoyants see energy. And there's different um, ways that clairvoyance can see. For me, I've been blessed where I can see a lot of things, like thousands and thousands of movie stations, okay, or movie channels, right? I can see auras. I can see like a medical intuitive. I can see past lives. I can see energy between two people, especially if they come to me for like a relationship healing. I can see auras around animals and communicate with animals. I can see energy around plants and trees and vegetation. I can see angels. So, though, I can see the divine, I can see what's happening at, the astral and causal levels that are non physical. So, those are some examples. Not everybody has that level, but I've been like this my whole life and really honing and refining it. And I just ask God to show me what I need to see and know for that particular person in that particular session. That way it doesn't get overwhelming. Because when I was a kid, I would definitely get overwhelmed by everything that I could see. So there's clairvoyance, right, which is
Right.
seeing, clairaudience, which is hearing. So hearing the whispers from our soul, hearing angels talking, hearing animals talking, hearing nature talking. There's clairsentience, which is all about the feelers. So the empaths are clairsentient, right? So those are some of the main categories
And you have
of
all of them.
intuition. I have all of them. Yes.
Can you turn it off?
Yes.
I would imagine the amount of input is overwhelming.
I have learned how to turn it off. I struggled growing up because I didn't know how to turn it off, and it would be overwhelming, and certain environments or negative people would take me out. Like I would let myself be taken out until I learned how to turn it off, turn it on, increase the volume, decrease the volume, switch the TV station.
You've learned how to protect yourself.
Yes, and even more so than, say, a bubble of white light to protect yourself, what has helped me the most is developing energetic boundaries. So these boundaries work as a filter to let in the good and keep out the not so good. So if I'm in an environment that's heavy, dirty, yucky, like maybe even going to a hospital, all right, or a club, right? There's a lot of heavy, sick energy in some of these places. So to have those energetic boundaries and have the intention and the clarity behind it to say, no, I am not available for that negativity to be absorbed into me.
Because what
No.
I've been told is when you have a bright light, which you obviously do, that the negative is attracted to you. So I was assuming that you had found ways to put up energetic barriers so that they don't get through.
Yes. And with the boundary, it's not one of those walls or guards, because you can still let in the love, the peace, the joy, the prosperity, the abundance, the health, the vitality, the blessings, and be unavailable for those other negative energies. When I didn't have the boundaries, I used to get sick.
Right.
I used to pick up somebody else's sadness, depression, anger, stress, anxiety, or their physical ailment. If they had shoulder pain, then I had shoulder pain, and and that level of sensitivity and empathy without having the protection mechanisms was a disaster. And it really wasn't until I learned how to have space, healthy space and boundaries, that my life changed. And that is a big thing that I teach people, because then you can feel safe and be safe and still welcome in all the good energies, welcome in the prosperity, welcome in the love and intimacy, welcome in that health, and be unavailable for the dis-ease, be unavailable for negative politic talks, be unavailable for the things that are happening in 2020, be unavailable for, somebody else's negativity about anything.
Right. And unfortunately, we've entered into a time, it's kind of a balance because I feel more love in some areas of my life, and I feel more negativity coming at me in other areas of my life. And I'm hoping when we come out of this that we are much more towards kindness and hope and love, and we get rid of all of that negative that's been unleashed. But it seems to be greater than it has at any point in my life right now, coming from some elements of our society. And I don't understand what it's getting them and what's in it for them to be projecting that all the time. But I'm hoping when we come out of this, we come back to a brighter, more loving place. So we need people like you who can show everyone the way.
Me too. I really hope that love prevails.
Yeah, has to.
Mm-hmm. That is the direction that we're going in. We just need to awaken more people
Right.
to want that and live that.
And I asked you the questions about protection because it was some time ago, but I got attacked from a negative energy. So I did do some studying with some spiritual people to teach me how to set up my light barrier to let in only the good and to keep out the dark. And I still use it to this day because when you start picking up negative energy, it is not healthy for you or for you to allow it to be around you. And learning those boundaries is an interesting thing unto itself that's necessary for those of us who want to live in love and light. We have to learn that. And that's where it was explained to me. I grew up in a family with tremendous love, with unconditional love. Apparently, that's not normal. And so, some negative entities were attracted to my light, and it sort of threw me for a loop because I was not protected in any way from keeping them out. And that was a skill I had to learn. So tell us I don't want to necessarily go off in that direction, but if someone comes to you, where would you start with them?
I would ask them, what area in their life are they suffering? Are they feeling challenged by? Are they not receiving the results that they're looking for? Because it's just a really good place to start. Some people might say, oh, it's my health. Some people might say, I'm having struggles with my husband. Another person might say that they're having career problems, right? So we can just customize it depending on what they need in the moment. And then from there, I can just go in and see, what would be the best course of action.
Do you find that people are open enough that you can intuitively see what you need to see, or does that take some work?
I've been lucky. And it's probably my intentions and boundaries, but I only get people who are open and receptive.
It makes sense that people who are attracted to you to hire you are coming to you because they want to be open and they want to heal, which is the first major step, is to actually pick up the phone, call you, and make the appointment. So that makes sense to me. But if somebody's closed, it's not so easy to get through. So it makes sense that you would start from an openness from the very beginning.
Yes, I see, are they open and receptive? Are they really ready for this? Some people might mentally be ready, but not emotionally ready. Some people might want to be fixed, but not do the things that need to support them in being well. So I usually start with a brief phone call and get to know them a little bit and see if we're a good fit. So people can sign up for a free brief call with me, a Blindspot strategy session at blindspothealer.com. That'll go directly to my healer page.
I'll put all of this right underneath this tape so that people know how to find you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, because I want them to be able to find you when we're done. One of the things you do a lot is you work with money space. So explain that to me.
Money space is like an energetic bubble or space around you that includes your mindset, it includes your beliefs, it includes how you think about money. So when your money space is small, guess what? You're probably not making very much money. When your money space has leaks and cracks and holes in it, you're probably leaking out money. Like money is going down the drain. It's going out. It's not, necessarily staying in to boost your savings account, right? It's going out. If your money space is really dirty, because you have negative attitudes and beliefs about money, or those were imprinted onto you by your family or society, then that also creates blocks within you. So I work with people on clearing their money space, clearing their beliefs about money, if that's, the thing that they want to focus on for those sessions.
Right, right. What's your favorite thing to work on with a client? Do you have one?
No, not really, because I've done thousands of sessions. Um, yeah, I just know how I like their face to look. So and I don't even do sessions in person, but some people send me before and after photos. And I've done before and after photos in my workshops, where at the beginning I'll do a photo, and then at the end of my workshop I'll do another photo. And there's like a glow on their face. There's a more youthfulness, there's a presence. Their eyes have like a radiance that comes out of them. Some people, I've done healing sessions and they've physically lost a few pounds. We talk about emotional baggage weighing you down. Literally, it does. So there's, I would say, the feelings that they feel afterwards, the greater sense of self, the inner strength, the peace, the joy, the healthy self-esteem, healthy self-confidence, and that light that comes out of their eyes.
Which has got to be an amazing thing that to have the ability to do. I'm sure it is very rewarding that when you work with a client that you can bring them to a point of joy. That
Yes.
itself would be incredibly rewarding. So that's fantastic. Why do you think that most people are not yet living their life to their fullest potential?
I think that it's different for different people. I think at a deeper level, it's fear. Like they're afraid of something, afraid of their power, afraid of owning their truth and speaking their truth, afraid of standing in their power, afraid of going against the grain. And sometimes, they might do it to a certain level, but maybe not 100%. And when we're not embodying our power, our purpose, whatever that intention may be, even if we're at 98% of owning it, that 2% can actually mess you up. It can be the difference between someone being healthy and diseased. That 2% can be the difference of making that sale and commission and not making that sale and commission. That 2% could be the thing that causes you to not have peace or joy. So I like to get people to a place where they're 100% congruent with whatever the intention or the goal is that we're working on together.
Makes sense.
And yes.
I lived in fear for much of my life. I got married to my high school sweetheart. I got divorced when I was 30, and that fear traveled with me through a large portion of my adult life. And I have a funny story to tell you that when I took a course in miracles, I was the only little Protestant girl in the room. Everybody else was Catholic and Jewish, and they were living in guilt, whereas I was living in fear. And they all looked at me and said, "What the heck are you afraid of?" And what the heck are you guilty about? I don't know where we got this baggage from, but they all could not understand. And I was in my early 50s when I realized that the only person who was keeping me from doing what I wanted to do in my life was me, and that I had to give fear the boot. It wasn't serving me. It wasn't doing anything for me. It was just stopping me from being who I wanted to be. And it was such a revelation. And it literally changed the rest of my life. And now 71, thank God I figured that out and let the fear go.
Mm-hmm.
Because my life has been so much more fulfilling, and I've gotten to do so many of the things that I wanted to do that I wouldn't have done before that, because the fear was always pulling me down and pulling me back.
Yes, being able to transmute that fear into love is so powerful. So powerful.
And I didn't know you then. So do that then. So you have a podcast. I have been on both of your podcasts and your show. Why don't you tell us about your podcast and what you're trying to achieve with it?
So I have a podcast called Soul of an Empath, and I invite different guests to come in and give insights or facilitate healing or do a guided meditation, something experiential. And then I alternate it with healings. So I'll invite a guest and I'll physically do healing on them on the show. So they can come to me for different types of healing that they want, and I fit that in, and so everybody who's listening to it can also simultaneously receive healing for them as if they were the one that I was physically working on at that time. And if you're open and receptive, you can definitely feel that healing and receive those shifts in your own life.
Wonderful.
So
you can do that.
yeah, so even if you wanted to be a guest and receive healing, you could go to my soulofanempath.com and sign up to be a guest, and I could facilitate healing in that way as well.
Fantastic. Um, what else would you like to share with us? I don't feel like I've gotten very deep with you, and it's because I'm not asking you the right questions. So what am I not asking you that you would like everyone to know?
When we are brave enough to go within and see what's unhealed, see into our quote unquote shadow self and heal those parts, it is profoundly healing, loving, spiritual, and it even one healing one deep core wound will ripple out to every area of your life. And I think at a deep level, we all want to feel loved. So maybe by coming and saying, okay, let's heal the wounds around not feeling loved, or let's heal the wounds about not feeling seen or not feeling wanted. It's incredible how that physically and psychologically affects our health, our joy, our mindset, our meditations and spiritual growth, and our finances. So even if you don't yet know what you want to talk to me about, you can still reach out and get an appointment, and I'll guide you through it, because sometimes you can't see it because it's in your blind spot, and that's my job. So
Sure, we all have blind spots.
I do too. And it frustrates me because I do blind spot healing, but yet because I'm, still human, I also have blind spots. And it takes a willingness, a self-confidence, inner reflection, journaling, meditating, spiritual practices to start seeing our own blind spots and then do what it takes to heal and release those.
Right. Do you connect with angels or a spiritual being when you're doing healing, or are you just directly connecting to the source?
Why don't we close with a prayer and then you'll see?
Okay. Okay.
um, it, so what would you, how about I do a general prayer?
Why don't we do a prayer for the nation right now? Because between COVID and everything else going on with the election, I think that the nation could use a healing.
Okay, so I'll include the nation as well. All right. Beloved God, Divine Mother, Divine Father, all the great, great ones, spiritual teachers, spiritual elders, angels, saints, helpers, and guides, we thank you. Thank you for the healing, the light, the love, the power. Thank you for the prosperity and abundance, the mercy, grace, and ease. Thank you for blessing us, our family, our friends, our loved ones, blessing and healing our nation and all of humanity. God, lift us up. Help us to choose love, choose joy, and literally choose it because we know that it is our personal responsibility to take that choice and live it. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for lifting us up. Thank you for the inner strength to persevere and to keep growing and loving and being joyful. Thank you for blessing this election, blessing the world to be free of COVID, free of violence, free of atrocities and abuse and tragedy and trauma. Help us to live a life of love. Choose light, choose love, choose joy, Choose peace. Live it and be it, moment to moment. Thank you. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. Yeah, we do. And I would like us all to choose that. So you call upon all of them.
Yes.
To my question.
And sometimes I just go straight to God, but when I'm doing group work especially, I want like everybody to help. Yeah.
Right.
I'm spiritual. I'm not religious.
Right.
I'm spiritual. I've studied all of the world's religions.
Right.
And
Yeah, no, as long as somebody has faith and believes, I don't care what form it takes. It doesn't matter. And it shouldn't matter to them. Yeah, as long as we all have something greater than us that we believe in, then we can all work together for love. It doesn't have to be within a certain segment. So, okay, thank you. That was beautiful. Anything else you would like people out there to know about you?
If you're ready and willing for change in a good way, reach out. Let's give you the upgrades. The physical upgrades, emotional, mental upgrades, financial upgrades, spiritual upgrades, relationship upgrades, okay? And know that I'm a safe harbor to just come and be who you are, and I'll help you.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes, and just come to my website for highlyperceptivepeopleacademy.com. Cheryl's going to put it in the links for you below, and that would be a great way to get to know me. I also have bi-weekly blessings and healing for humanity. I also include a group healing during that. I have a lot of free offerings on that highlyperceptivepeopleacademy.com website. So that's a good place to start.
And that way they'll get to know you, get to know your beautiful energy. And so, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much. And I've loved having you on the show. So thank you for coming and sharing with everyone what it is that you do.
Thanks so much, Cheryl.